Daniil, have you visited an English-speaking country?
No, I did not, unfortunately.
Okay. Then you have a lot in common with some of your other classmates for that reason and others. And so the thing that my experience as a lifelong language learner is that what it takes to find the words that you don't know is lots of practice. And so you're doing the right thing, putting yourself in a situation where you will have a lot of opportunity to talk and to hear native speakers speaking. So we, as you may know, were you both at the presentation which we gave last week? Svetlana, did you see us last week?
Last week? Sorry, what the presentation?
Yes, there was a presentation last week, but you weren't there. So this is the first time you've seen us.
Yes, the first time.
And what about you, Danin? Have you seen us before?
I had a quick look for a presentation last week, but I didn't watch it. Oh.
So you saw a recording.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to know. So welcome, Olga, and Andrew, and Sasha, and here is Pete Smith, Professor Smith. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you, Olga. Today we're going to begin with a discussion of the words which I hope you see on your screen. Are you looking at the whiteboard that says red blue at the top in the tabs? If you're not, go to the top of your screen. It should be the first tab, and the first word that Professor Shestakov has highlighted here is red letter day. Does everyone see that page? Okay, good.
Morning, Professor Marston and all.
Good
Welcome
morning.
to you.
And are you in your usual place, Pete?
I am, but I have brought a different computer to see if I can actually stay on the conference this time.
Aha.
Okay, well, good luck. You're lucky you have more than one. And are you going to talk to us a little bit about concordances?
Good. I love Joe's list, so I will run a brief concordance on red and blue as well to share in a little bit.
Okay. So we have a number of expressions here, and Joe, can you talk about this a little bit and maybe even what brought us to this discussion?
Okay. Those of you who were with us last week remember that we were talking about red states and blue states. Red states and blue states as part of the presidential campaign in the United States. Misha, welcome. Sasha, what do we mean when we talk about red states and blue states?
The states are connected with the elections in the United States. It's about the states that mostly vote for Democrats, and this is the blue states. These are the blue states, and the red states are the states that vote for Republicans.
Okay, red states are Republicans,
Yeah.
and blue states are Democrats. Democrats. And so, and there's no logical reason for that. Somebody started that, and it continued, it persisted, and it's become part of the language now. And I was thinking afterwards about other expressions in the language that have to do with the colors red and blue. That's correct. Red states are Republican, blue states are Democratic. And so I came up with this list of common expressions in English having to do with red and blue. And so the first one is Red Letter Day. And does anyone know what a Red Letter Day is? Anyone? Red Letter Day?
It's kind of a very important day, like maybe a holiday or something else.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good answer. In fact, that same expression occurs in Russian.
Yeah.
You talk about Krasny Dень Kalendarya, huh? A red letter day. All right. So that's what I mean. And a blue moon. What's a blue moon, Olga? What do we mean when we say a blue moon? Do you know, Olga?
No.
No? Dima, do you know what a blue moon is? Blue moon? Anyone? Andre, what's a blue moon? Misha, what's a blue moon? Who knows what a blue moon is? Svetlana, do you know what a blue moon is? Anyone? Well, we had one last month, a blue moon. A blue moon is the second full moon in a month. And it happens very rarely. I mean, you know what a full moon is, right, everyone? Where you see the entire disk. And if the first full moon of the month comes very early in the month, on the first or second of the month, then the lunar cycle is 28 days long. It's shorter than a calendar month. So if you have a second one, it's called the blue moon. And a blue moon is something that's very rare. So you use that expression, you say, oh, how often do you get to Russia? Oh, once in a blue moon, which means very rarely, okay? So then we have all of these others. That's Red Letter Day and Blue Moon. Now, we would like you all to do the rest of these words. And let's see, I'll start. Olga, you're on my screen right now. So, Olga, you will have red herring and true blue. Red herring and true blue. And Andre, you'll have red-handed and blue ribbon.
Okay.
And Svetlana, you'll have red tape and blue blood. The third one. Let's see, Andre, Svetlana, Sasha, you will have Paint the Town Red and Blue Law. And Daniil, you will have Red Light District and Blue Plate Special. Misha, you will have Red Carpet Treatment and Feeling Blue. And Dima, you'll have Red Eye Flight. Dina, let's do. How about if you do, Dima, you do Seeing Red and Blue Norther. Seeing Red and Blue Norther. Okay?
This is a great list.
All right. So some of these now, take a minute and look at a concordance for these things, and then we'll go back to the beginning. Olga, we're going to start with you, and you tell us what these expressions mean in English. You tell us what these expressions mean.
And so what we want you to do is go right now to another part of the web and we want you to try experimenting with a concordance rather than a dictionary. And that tends to show you words in context. And Professor Smith has put in the chat box a link to
the link in the chat box will take you to a concordance where you can put your phrases in and begin to explore words like red and blue. And I will go ahead and, Kostya, you may have to give me the ability to share a file if I could. A concordance, as you may remember, will tell you about a particular set of words that are usable in a language. Typically, words occur in combinations. So we have Professor Lero's wonderful list. I ran the word blue through a concordance as well and found some additional words that pair, that combined. In English, we call them word collocations. In Russian, of course, словосочетание is the word. And so, for example, we in English can have a blue ribbon. And Professor Lero, I don't remember if that was on your list. Blue seas, blue skies. These are common pairings or collocations of words that come together in the language. Professor Lero, do you want to take it away again?
Okay. Am I on? I think I'm on. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put the word list back red, blue 1. And Olga, it's your turn. Tell us what a red herring is and what true blue is.
Red herring is when you can say red herring when you want to distract somebody, do something that distracts somebody.
Okay, very good. Red herring, it's something that distracts someone. A distraction, very good. And Olga, what is true blue?
True blue is faithful man.
Very, absolutely right. Very faithful. Верный человек. True blue. He's a true blue He's a true blue friend. Very faithful. He's a true blue friend. Olga, good job. Thank you very much. Andrei, your turn. Red-handed. Oh, red herring. Why is a red herring a distraction? Do we know the history of that expression?
Well, I think red-handed and is where, like, a person who committed a crime, and he, for example, police catch him on this crime.
Okay, good. Red-handed, caught in the act. Red-handed. All right, good.
Yes, yes.
And blue ribbon. How about blue ribbon, Andrei? Andrei, what is blue ribbon?
It was on your list.
It was, yeah. Andrei?
Yes, yes. Blue ribbon. It's like a symbol.
Symbol, yeah, of what?
Symbol of
Andrei, you know, in the Olympics, what is the first prize? The highest award, first prize. What kind of medal?
gold medal.
Gold. And what is second prize?
Silver.
Silver. And third prize is bronze. Good. In horse racing, the first prize is a blue ribbon, and the second prize is a red ribbon. Second prize, and the third prize is a white ribbon. So if you say that that something is blue ribbon, that means that it's the very, very best. And like your performance today, Andrei, is a blue ribbon performance. Okay?
Okay, I understand.
Okay, good. Everyone understands. Svetlana, it's your turn. Red tape and blue blood.
Required bureaucratical approval.
Right. Say it again. I think your microphone was off for part of the time.
It's the collection of forms which required a bureaucratical approval.
Right. I have some personal experience with the Soviet bureaucracy, and let me tell you, they were experts at red tape, at red tape. And good, something very complicated, very bureaucratic. And what about blue blood, Svetlana? What's a blue blood?
The phrase blue blood means people who are in the royal family, like kings, queens, etc. Of course, this person didn't have blue blood, but they just related to royal.
Right, exactly. None of these are literal. You know, a blue moon is not blue, and a red hair and red-handed is not red, and blue blood is not blue. It's just a figurative expression. The переносное значение. It's good, very nice. Sasha, oh, these are great. Paint the town red and blue law.
Okay.
Thank you, Svetlana.
Paint the town red is, well, something like go and revel in the town, I think, and still have fun and drink alcohol, for example.
Okay. Paint the town red. It means to have a. Let's go and paint the town red tonight. Yeah. That means we'll go to a bar and we'll have drinks, and we'll go to another one, and we'll go dancing, and we'll go to a show, and it means to have a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment, Good.
And
a blue law.
Something like a purest law that restricts something. As far as I remember, I mean, as far as I know, it's from the United States history when there was a law that prohibited doing things that are not connected with the church on Sundays or on Saturdays. I don't remember. In fact,
right. In Texas, which is a conservative southern state, all of the stores that sell alcohol are closed on Sundays. And that's called a blue law. You cannot buy a bottle of alcohol on Sundays. That's called a blue law. All right, good. Daniel. Sasha, good job. Daniel, red light district and blue plate special.
Sudan, as I found, usually it is used for calling an area in a city which is very poor and a lot.
How are we going to say this?
How will you say this diplomatically?
How do you say this?
Maybe you can use the English word temptations.
I just
let me help you, Daniel. Okay. Daniel, a red light district is the district of a city where there are bordellos and gambling houses, that kind of thing. Okay, kind of illegal. Last week we were using the expression hanky panky. There's a lot of hanky panky that goes on in red light districts. All right. Okay. You know what a bordello is, Daniel? Do you?
Of course.
Okay.
I never was there.
Well, I don't stop. All right. How about a blue plate special? Yeah. What is that? What is a blue plate special?
Plate for hot dishes, as I found. Special.
Yeah.
What?
If you go to a restaurant, actually, last week we were using the word cafe, something that's not very elite. Not very elite. You might order the blue plate special, and a blue plate special would be a dinner with meat and potatoes, and it would change, and it would have a special price. So you go to it's comfort food, traditional food, so with a lower price on a given day. So you go into the restaurant and you say to the waiter, to the waitress, I'll have the blue plate special, meatloaf, chicken, something like that. All right.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Let's see, and we have Misha now, huh? Misha, we have red carpet treatment and feeling blue.
I think red carpet treatment, that means a warm welcome.
Good.
Okay. But feeling blue, I don't understand. Maybe feel. That means feel lonely.
It means to feel lonely, or depressed, or unhappy. I'm feeling blue. I'm feeling blue. Good.
Okay. Okay.
A red carpet treatment. You know, if President Putin came to Omsk. At the airport, has he ever come to Omsk? At the airport, they would roll out the red carpet. They would roll out a red carpet for him to walk on.
Okay.
Red carpet treatment, right? So, and you know, and I'll tell you in the next line, we talk about the red-eye flight. A red-eye flight is an airplane flight. And I once took a flight from Moscow to Omsk, and it left Moscow at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and we flew and we flew and we flew for a few hours and landed at Omsk in the morning, 3 time zones later, and I couldn't sleep, and when I got off the plane I was so tired my eyes were red, and you call that kind of flight a red-eye flight. Joe has red eyes. Okay, one more. Dima. Seen red and blue norther.
Seeing red, as I understood it, it means that to become angry, probably.
Very angry, yeah. Very angry.
And blue also, it's something about very cold window wind. Wind.
It's a storm. A blue norther is a storm with a lot of wind, cold changing wind. A blue norther. Okay, not worth a red cent. Well, y'all know what that is. Not worth a red cent, and the reason we say that is that. Let me, Lloyd, I may have one here. Just a moment. Not worth a red cent. Here we go.
You're looking for red cent?
I've got a cent right there, okay? This is an American penny. It's 1 penny, and they're made out of copper. And the copper is red. So when something has very low value, you say it's not worth a red cent. Now I have been talking until I'm blue in the face. Until I'm blue in the face. That means I've been talking and talking and talking. I say to my kids, I've been telling you to clean your room until I'm blue in the face. That means I've do your homework, clean your room, wash the dishes. Where you're talking until you're all talked out. Okay, well, good job, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, good job. We're watching. We've been talking about the elections until we're blue in the face. Until we're blue in the face. Okay, Professor Marston, ladies and gentlemen, this was a good job, a very nice job, very well done.
Excellent job.
Let's see, do we have Professor Marston? There she is, no?
I'm here.
Okay.
And that was an excellent job, and that encourages me to try this sort of thing again. I would like to find out from each of you how you went about finding the answers to those expressions. Did anyone try using a concordance? The concordance that Professor Smith used, for example. And for those of you who are new this week, if you're not aware that we have a chat box, then that's going to be important to following along.
Okay. This happens more than we like. Professor Marston was referring to the chat box on the lower right of your screen. And I would encourage you not to use the full screen, but rather to use the screen with the whiteboard on the left, the default screen, and the participants on the upper right and the chat box. And
I was going to go down the list and sort of follow up on Dr. Marston's question.
Go ahead.
Andre, when you had a phrase like blue in the face or caught red-handed, what computer tool do you use to look it up? Where did you type it in, Andre?
You mean what I use?
Yeah, did you use a dictionary or did you try a concordance?
I try to use Corpus.
Ah, and did you find it helpful?
Yes.
And one of the features of a concordance is you have to read many words to find the meaning. So it helps you, but just like Professor Marston says, it's also very good practice. Always, we keep coming back to this word, practice. Daniel, how about you? Is your microphone on? Thank you, Andre.
Yeah, but I just tried to use a concordance, but I didn't get the results. I don't know what. Then I just used Google and dictionary.
Okay. That concordance takes a little bit of practice, and you have to type in the word as well as select the corpus on the pull-down menu that tells you how it's going to search. Very nice. What dictionary do you use, Daniel?
Multitran.
Multitran. Okay, very nice. Dima, thank you, Daniel. Dima, what tool do you use?
I also use Multitran.
Very nice. And Multitran, is that very popular for use in Russia?
Probably yes. It's very easy to use it.
Very nice. Olga, how about you? Thank you, Tima. Olga, how about you? What computer tool did you use to check the words or phrases?
I've used Multitran and Wikipedia.
It seems if we had an election today, Multitran would win, wouldn't it? Very interesting. Well, keep using those concordances. They're very useful tools. Sometimes a concordance can tell you things that a dictionary did not. So a dictionary will tell you the meaning, but it cannot tell you the many alternatives or other phrases that you might find in a concordance. Although I think Professor Liro's list was just outstanding. It was practically a concordance in and of itself. Well, thank you, Olga. Professor Marston, are you back with us?
Okay, yes, I am back, and I wanted to add to what you said, Professor Smith, to say that
I think we may need to pick up for Professor Marston again.
Okay. I bet she's seeing red right now.
I bet she's seeing red, and some days WebEx isn't worth 1 red cent.
Right.
Why don't we go to the map? If you could look at the tab at the top of your screen that says Poll October 16th, 2012. Can everybody see that map on your screen? Professor Liro used the wonderful phrase that we are all blue in the face of, after listening to so much talk about our elections. Remember that our elections are going to be on November 6th, so we still have several weeks. So there are many polls and other ways that people are talking about who's ahead, who's winning. Now, do I understand there were some elections in Russia this past week? Did I read that correctly? Svetlana, did you have some elections in Russia recently as well?
Yes, probably you are right. There were elections in government, like the governor were elected.
Ah, and was it all the governors or just several of the governors?
It's around, if I'm not mistaken, around 77 regions were electing the new governor.
Ah, and did you have elections in Omsk for the governor?
I don't know, to tell the truth. I didn't elect. I didn't participate.
You didn't vote. And I remember the name of the governor from some years ago. Was it Mr. Polozhayev or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, very nice. Well, we are looking at our elections. Thank you, Svetlana. We are looking at our elections with our two candidates, right? So we have our sitting president, and sometimes the word you will hear there is the incumbent, who is, of course, Barack Obama. And we have the challenger, who is Mitt Romney, and we'll put him up on the chat box as well. And the election is, I think, in many of the polls, very close. So for the next 3 weeks, this will be a topic of conversation for us. We will all be talking about the polls and the election. And tonight, there is another debate between the two top candidates, between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. So many millions of Americans, maybe 60 or 70 million, will all watch the debate tonight to listen to the views of the candidate, and very importantly, watch how the candidates appear and how they carry themselves. Professor Marston, do you want to pick it up again?
Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is tell me if you are following the elections at all, and if you do, can you see something different about this electoral college map from the one we looked at last week? You will remember that there is a color code at the top, blue being Democratic and red being Republican. And we have firm Obama, which is the light blue, and that's 277. These are electoral votes, which we talked about last time. Is that more or less?
All right, I want to show you all the headline in this morning's paper. This is the morning Austin American Statesman, today's paper. And can you read the, can all of you see the headline there?
Yes,
I'm not seeing it.
We could see it.
You can see it? Here we go. Debate could break tide race. We're talking about debate could break tide race. The debate is very important. The race is tied, and the writers, the political commentators, think maybe that this town hall debate could be decisive. All right, Professor Marston, I interrupted you a moment ago.
That's okay. I appreciate the support. I wanted you to look now at the picture that says Maddow at the top. There's a picture of Rachel Maddow, who's a TV commentator, and she often has linguistically interesting headlines. Here you see, this is by way of introduction to the idea of voter suppression and voter fraud. Her headline says, "Thinning the herd." And this is a common expression, and there's a pun intended. And you see a vote box, a ballot box, and a Republican figure, the elephant, putting something in the ballot box. So that reminds me of when I see elephants, I know that is a symbol for Republicans. And this, does anyone know what the symbol, what animal is the symbol of the Democrats? It's a donkey. So now this expression, thinning the herd, it's usually the pun, the play on words is on herd. And this is a homophone, a word that sounds the same as a group of particularly cattle. Herd, H-E-R-D, is usually a group of cattle. And when you say thinning the herd, what do you think that might mean? Can anyone look that up real quick? To thin the herd. Thinning the herd in connection with having fewer voters. If yes, it is something you might expect cowboys to do, people who are working cattle. Thinning the herd is a selection process. And usually they select animals for slaughter. That is, to be killed and sent to market for food. So in this context, we have the other use of herd, H-E-A-R-D, which are people who have a voice. In this case, a vote. So thinning the herd is restricting those who have a vote. And so our topic for this morning involves several texts that you looked at last week. And there were two of you who posted very nice summaries of the issue in the Moodle course. And so in a minute, I'm going to ask those two to talk about this topic. And one is Andre and the other is Danil. So what we want to do is to consider this problem of restricting the vote in one way or another. And
So the topic that Professor Marston is just introducing is all about voter registration. Who is allowed to vote? Who is not allowed to vote? Professor Lero, I am not at home, but I bet you have your voter registration card handy.
I do. I have it right here.
So in order to register and be registered to vote, Professor Lero had to prove that he is a resident and a citizen of the United States, and he gets that card, and it's officially certified. That's wonderful. Officially certified by the governmental officials in his county, and you can see voter registration certificate right on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So Professor Lero can walk into the polls and vote.
Now, if you look closely, you can see that it's stamped right there in red.
Yeah.
Can all of you read? Let's see if we get this right. Can you see what's stamped there in red?
And Professor Lero voted in the Democratic Party primary. In Texas, you have to, or you can declare a party when you go to the primary. The rules are a little different in each state. But in Texas, which is mostly a Republican state, we are pretty much a red state. Professor Lero is a blue voter.
Yes, he's an unrepentant liberal Democrat.
And I believe you will find out that I am as well.
And me.
And Professor Marston.
And Professor Marston.
We may be what you call yellow dog Democrats to keep the colors in our vocabulary. A yellow dog Democrat is someone who would vote Democratic even if the candidate were a yellow dog, a diehard Democrat. Professor Marston, do you want to pick it up again?
Gosh, you're doing so well. I will.
Lero, you old yellow dog.
You old yellow dog.
Yes, we're definitely a trio of liberal Democrats, which puts us, for the United States, on the left of the political spectrum. A dog pack, not a herd. Herds are for cattle or sheep, but we are definitely interested in social issues, and you may have guessed this already about us. So what I posted in the chat box is one of the summaries that was written in the Moodle. And I wonder if the person who wrote it would kindly read it for us.
Who wrote that? Was that Daniel or Andre? Who wrote on voter suppression?
Actually, both of them did.
Uh-huh.
And I believe that this is Andre Dorofeev. Andre, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
And will you own this work? Is this your writing?
Yes, but I can't see.
It's in the chat box. It's in the chat box.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I wonder if you will read it for us. I thought it really, this is a good piece of writing, a nice summary, and I'd like you to read it for us.
Okay. Voter suppression, it is a strategy of influence selection, the voting process. The pressure can be both legal and illegal forms. There are many ways to suppress, creating barrier to voter registration, and the exception was restricted voter list. The ban of participation in election for certain categories of citizens include thus convict of crimes, misinformation, votes. In general, there are countless ways to influence the outcome of the vote, and every election there is more and more ways, more interesting and complicated ways to change the election results in favor of certain candidates. Overall, this is a very interesting event, leading to the conclusion that the winner is the most cunning candidate.
Thank you. Good job. Can you comment any further about what you read or heard on this subject? Is there something that interested you in particular?
There is very interesting, different methods how to change the results of election results.
Okay, and then if I can do it successfully, I'm going to try and post what you wrote, Daniil. And if I fall off in the process, I'm still going to ask you to talk about this, and then I'm going to ask for comments from the rest of the group. So let's see how successful I am.
If you fall off, Professor Marston, it's not that we're thinning the herd.
Yes, thank you. It's my service provider that is thinning the herd, I'm afraid. Okay, so
good job.
I'm still here. If you will look in the chat, Daniil, I believe this is your work. And since you're new to our class, perhaps you need to know that one of the reasons that I'm here is something that I don't do. I don't speak Russian, and I don't understand Russian. So I'm here so that you will have someone who is absolutely innocent of Russian. I haven't given up on that yet, but so far it's not one of the languages that I speak. So, Daniil, can you read what you wrote, please?
Okay. Mitt Romney has defined the battlegrounds of the elections. Those 9 states are really suffering from voter suppression. It is hard to understand how a person who is making your rights unrealizable before he has taken presidential power will make your life better. Do anyone remember what legitimacy and democracy are? Of course, there are people that do not care about the future of their country, and there's no need of them in election procedure. But they won't vote anyway. And of course, there are hot-eyed Americans who will stand all those lines, fill all those ballots, and will use their constitutional rights no matter what. But in between of those fanatics and blazed persons, there are a lot of voters who should take part in deciding the future of a country. And they won't because of voter suppression, which can lead nowhere but to a great low nihilism in society. Should I comment what I wrote?
Yes, please.
I really believe that the politics which is chosen by Romney is wrong because it affects the legal conscience of Americans, and I really don't know what did Obama made to win those elections, but if he's doing the same things, if he using voter suppression or voter fraud, I think there are no real candidates for elections in 2012. That's all.
And if you will look at the thing that Professor Smith has just posted, you will see that this is a map of states in which there have been Republican attempts to suppress the vote. And we talk about that, and the Republicans talk about voter fraud. And that is the justification that they make for what they're doing. In fact, did anyone see any evidence of voter fraud in what you read or watched? A good deal of time and energy has been spent to reduce, to find evidence of voter fraud, but in fact, we haven't seen it. And Professor Smith, I have a couple more pictures. If you could pass me the baton here.
I'm not sure I have the ability to do that, but I will try.
It's done.
Ah, magic.
Yes, I think it's not magic, but our fearless leader.
Our compatriot in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let me see what I can do about uploading.
Pay no attention to the man behind the WebEx.
So this is a political cartoon.
It's good.
And it's by Mike Peters, who writes a non-political comic as well. And about once a week, he publishes a political commentary. And that's his signature in the upper right corner. And so, Dimitri, can you
Dima, can you help us
understand
this cartoon? Why don't you go ahead and read the words at the top?
No, I'll try to explain. This is groups trying to stop citizens from voting. So I think that Republicans try to pass laws which will create some problems for people to vote free, probably.
Yes, perfect. And
So,
who else on the planet is making it hard for people to have equal representation? So the Republicans, and then who else? Dima?
Yes. Republicans, about Khatun.
Yeah, what three groups does Mike Peters identify? Republicans are one, and who else?
Taliban, I don't know how is right.
Taliban, okay.
Taliban, yes.
And Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda. Well, that's...
So, enemies of United States.
Yeah, and how do they try to keep citizens from voting? Al-Qaeda and Taliban.
Groups trying to fight these people.
They killed them. They killed them.
Yeah.
So this is a very sharp cartoon, a very sharp cartoon to list to include the Republicans in the same group as Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, and he is specifically including the Ohio Secretary of State, the government official who is in charge of elections.
And so let me get a word in edgewise while I can. Last week we noted that one of the candidates, Mitt Romney, said that Russia is our greatest enemy. The greatest enemy of America is Russia. And he's aggressively, and I would say stupidly, except I'm trying to keep some balance here, trying to be belligerent and hostile towards traditional enemies. So, and those traditional enemies for some time, for the last 10 years or so, have maybe since 9/11, would be Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. And so for this cartoon to be focused on the suppression of vote brings us to a different focus. Russia being the main enemy is not a widespread belief in this country. So let me reassure you about that. And so now let's see. Do you tell me? Are you aware of any voter suppression in Russia? I say this very innocently because I don't know. Svetlana, are you aware of any voter suppression in Russia?
Probably no, because I am not a citizen of Russia. But probably I can say several words about my native country.
And that was Kurdistan, right?
Yes.
So tell me, what is it like in Kurdistan?
Probably, for example, when we had presidential elections, there were many frauds. For instance, one person could vote several times, even though he has one passport.
I see. Yes, that's a problem. And so far, that's not a problem for which there is any evidence in this country. Let's see. Can we find out? Olga, are you aware of any voter fraud in Russia or attempts to suppress the vote? Oh, and you need a
No,
microphone. There.
I don't.
So you don't think there is any funny business, as we might say, any attempt to defraud the government, or hanky-panky, as we've been saying? Can you, Olga, can you talk about the process of voting, what you have to do when you vote? Maybe I should say, do you vote?
I have to come to my voting place with my passport and make my vote.
And so how do you do that? Do you have a paper ballot?
Yes, I give my passport and take a ballot. And then I will go to the cabin.
Okay, you go to a voting booth.
Yes,
and you mark your ballot.
Yes.
And are there lots of candidates there?
What?
Are there several candidates there?
Yes, maybe 7 or 8.
Ah. And is there more than one contest to vote on? One contest or one race, as we call them. For example, we have been talking about the presidential contest in America, but there are also very important congressional elections.
I think that it's more than one contest.
I wonder if the presidential elections in Russia, which you had recently, are held at the same time as the congressional elections. Do you know?
I'm sorry, I hear you very bad.
Yes, we're getting interference. Is that true? Is everyone having trouble hearing me?
Some interference, but you're coming through loud and clear, Professor Marston.
Okay. So, Misha, are you aware of any voter suppression in Russia?
You have a very complicated electoral system. Each state has its own rules to be followed by applicants in order to be admitted to participate in the primaries and caucuses.
Caucasus, so that's right. It's like the mountains.
Why do some states are taking the law restricting their vote to those convicted in the past? Convicted in the past. I do not get convicted, not people, or those who can for the Republicans, then it is not an election platform, and the game of cheese to 50 cells. This is not an election platform. Это не предвыборная программа. Not election program. Not. This is game of cheese to 50 cells. Okay? Шахматы. Шахматы. Not cheese. A game
of chess.
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 Chess. And the game of chess, I think. And the game of chess to 50 cells. Клетка.
Can anyone else comment about this?
So, yeah.
The difficulty. Let me explain one more thing about the Electoral College. That's what's been on the maps that we're showing. The Electoral College only affects the president. It's only for the presidential race. And it doesn't come into effect until after the popular election.
To pick up from Professor Marston, the Electoral College is actually how the vote for the president is finalized. So we will all vote. We as independent voters will all go and vote, and Professor Lero will have his voter ID card, and I will have my voter ID card. But then there is another level of calculation and counting where each of the states has what are known as Electoral College votes. So the popular vote does not elect the president. And really the Electoral College does. And so there is a real focus on some states like Ohio. Ohio has become what's known as a swing state. And it is up for grabs. Here's another great phrase. And its Electoral College votes, I think, if I read the map correctly, there are, is that 13 or 18, could decide who will be President of the United States. Those Electoral College votes in the swing states are very important. So all of the candidates are going to Ohio. Every day, it seems, the candidates go to Ohio because it's a swing state. And if you look at this map, other swing states are Colorado and Virginia. Professors Marston and Lero, you may have to help me here. I think Wisconsin is a swing state, am I correct?
Yes.
What are some of the other swing states? That's sort of the extent of my knowledge.
A key state is Florida. And I'm unaware of whether you can hear me now. I guess you can.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm so sorry. And Florida is an important swing state. It was the Florida vote, which was so close in the Bush v. Gore race that the election had to wait, the outcome of the election had to be, it was unknown for several days while they did some recounting. But Ohio, no Republican candidate has ever won the presidency without winning Ohio. The reason that these are key states for the election is because they have so many votes, and they have so many electoral votes because of their high population. And Romney this week has announced that he can still win without winning Ohio. And this is important because that means to me that he's giving up. He's saying there's no way I can win in Ohio, but oh well, I'm going to win other places. The federal court has blocked some Republican attempts, as we've seen the Republican Secretary of State in Ohio tried to suppress early voting. And early voting is something that is usually favored by Democrats. Lots more Democrats, people with less money, who may have trouble getting time off from work to go vote, are sometimes anxious to have longer periods to vote. And this year, today, in fact, in the news, the president's wife, Michelle Obama, announced that she was voting by mail. She's not going to vote during the election, on election day, November 6th. She is, along with the rest of the Democrats, Michelle Obama is encouraging people to vote early. The joke used to be vote early and often. But it was a joke because that's all very carefully controlled. And so the president, Mrs. Obama, sent a tweet using Twitter to her husband, the president, saying that she had just mailed in her vote. And he replied on Twitter that he was going to vote early. He will vote on October 26th, but in Chicago in person during early voting. So this is one way that the Democrats are trying to counteract the voter suppression attempts by the Republicans.
You know, this is very clever. First of all, they talked about it on Twitter. Everyone could read it, and you'll notice that they used the two options for voting early by using a mail-in ballot or by voting in person, and so they let everyone know that there are more than two options, that there are two options, and it is their very subtle way of encouraging people to vote early. Many employers will allow employees to be absent from work to vote. But many do not allow employees to be absent to vote, from their work to vote. It may be that they work in a factory where they're on an assembly line, or in a hospital where they have critical responsibilities. And the polls, the voting places in the United States, are typically open from 7 in the morning until 7 in the evening. So if you work during those times, if you work during those times, and you are not allowed to vote early on a weekend, for example, then you may forfeit your right to vote.
I see we are running out of time, but I thought you might want to know that the second presidential debate is at 8 p.m. this evening, Texas time, which would be 8 a.m. tomorrow morning in Omsk. And you can either search for a live stream, or I put a newspaper article up that gives you some material about the debate and also has a link to the live stream from Believe as well. So you may want to watch the presidential debate along with tens of millions of Americans. Tonight for us, tomorrow for you.
And let's see.
I think we are just about out of time, Professor Marson.
This was challenged after the election, and so they tried to do better, and this is what worked. So more than 15 hours. Some people waited as much as 18 hours. And so what this meant was people waiting in line who took time off from work to go and vote. Some of them could not wait that long and therefore were not able to vote. Okay, so next time, when we meet again next week, we will be looking at another aspect of the election. One of the main issues is economics, and this would include the budget and how Democrats view this and how Republicans view this. And that is the focus that we will have. And you will have an assignment which we will ask Professor Shestakov to put up in Moodle for you, and we will try to suggest some specific assignments so that, but I would encourage you to choose one of the links that I put up and to write a summary of it as the two most excellent summaries that we have today. It's good practice for a short writing assignment, and it will help you. So I'm sorry, we have talked way too long, and my apologies for that. Thank you, everyone. This has been a wonderful class.